Hello everyone and welcome to day 5 of Vlogmas. I am in my apartment. It is evening or afternoon time and I am walking into the Gentler office. That's right, you heard me. I now have an office space for Gentler. I just got this desk in today. If you follow me on Instagram, it's a little blown out because the light's behind me. If you follow me on Instagram and you saw it, I am waiting for Ginger. I just stepped on Ginger because she was stepping right behind me. I have this chair in here, but it actually belongs in the living room, so I'm going to move it once the new chair comes in. I'm going to put a light somewhere in this area, and then I have some desk things coming. But yeah, my dream, like I said, is to have like a neon sign here that says, "Be Gentler" or something, like the sweatshirt slogan. But that is the office. So today, since I was just kind of reminiscing on Gentler and how things started, I thought I would do a little sit down video and share some things I wish I had done beforehand, before starting the podcast or at the start of starting the podcast. So stay tuned. I'm going to cut to that right now. Hello everyone and welcome to my channel. I'm Maya and this is day 5 of Vlogmas and I am miraculously still here. Today I am in my new office for my podcast brand and all the other offshoots, and it had me thinking of just like, this is a small step, like I just have a desk in here literally, but it made me think of like the journey that is taken to get here. I've been podcasting for a little over a year now, so I wanted to talk about some things I wish I had done before starting and like from the start with my podcast. For some context, I started a podcast completely on a whim. I had kind of been thinking for a couple of years like, oh, podcast would be fun, but I didn't really put much thought into it. And then one weekend I just kept having this urge and I recorded like an episode on my phone with the voice memo, and then I used the app Anchor and I uploaded it. It sounds horrible. I'll have it linked in the description box anyway, but after a while I started picking things up and things started growing, and I've just been really proud of what I've been able to accomplish with the help of the audience and all that. So if any of you have been supporting Gentler throughout this time, thank you so much. It's all thanks to you. So 4 things I wish I had done beforehand. Now, obviously none of this stuff is required. I didn't do any of this stuff, that's why I'm talking about it, but I do think it would have made things a little bit easier knowing now what I know. So the first thing I wish I had done was batch content. Like I said, I created the podcast completely on a whim, but once I put it out, I kind of had this moment of like, oh crap, now I have to like put out more episodes. In fact, I think I named the 2nd or 3rd episode like, I have to name all of these now or something like that, because it was like hitting me like I have to have a new podcast episode every week, and then I have to promote that and make sure it's useful and there are takeaways, and there's just so much going into it. And so I fell off big time because I just didn't plan ahead, and I didn't have anything. Like if I had a really busy week at work, I didn't have anything ready to go to upload for an episode. I didn't know what day of the week I wanted to upload. Like if you look at the dates of the first probably couple of months of episodes of Gentler, it's just all over the place. As I felt something come on, I would record an episode and put it out. And at that point, I really didn't mind it because I knew I was pretty inconsistent, but it was really more so of a hobby for me. Like I think it's especially evident in the first episodes that I was recording things I needed to hear. And so recording an episode required me to sit down and make a structure of whatever subject it was so that I could really sit down and think through, okay, how do I need to go about saving money, or how do I need to go about planning like self-care in my week and having self-care at work, all that stuff. So it was more so for me, it was a hobby. It wasn't anything I really was trying to make into a business at that point. So I wasn't on top of scheduling, having regular content, consistency, any of that. So at the time it was fine. Knowing now where I am right now, where I want to go, I wish I had thought about that a little bit more. So the second thing is something else that didn't really matter at the time, but I wish I had done now looking back, and that's pitching myself to other podcasts. So something that has really, or probably the main thing that has helped the podcast grow at the rate that it has, is me being on other podcasts, me being on other similar podcasts, like similar in size, and especially other larger podcasts. So I was on Natalie Barbu's The Real Real, Kenzie Elizabeth's I Love You So Much. I was on Gals on the Go with Brooke. I have some other ones coming out, and then I was on like a handful of smaller ones as well. And that really helped because it allowed me to extend my reach a lot more into their audiences. And this isn't really something that every podcast can do, because for Gentler, I am really marketing myself as a thought leader in this space. So I can go on, I have kind of a framework of self-care that I share. I have things that I've come up with and that I am just sharing with everyone that have kind of come about from my line of thinking. Not every podcast is like that, and that's totally fine. Like if you're doing a more interview-based podcast where the main thing is people coming on and sharing their thoughts and all that with your audience, then you might not be able to go and like pitch other podcasts and shows and be interviewed, and that's totally fine. It just depends. I do both on my show so that I can still kind of present myself as an authority in the space, and also learn from other people who are authorities in their spaces. So that was something I really wish I'd done earlier, just because I feel like I could have had a steadier growth in the beginning, and it also would have helped me to develop some consistency a little bit earlier. If I felt like I was important enough, then maybe I would have shown up a little bit more. But I think that's just the mindset thing that I should have gotten over earlier. So the third thing I wish I had done is written blog posts or transcripts for each episode earlier. So this might be something that everyone already knows and everyone is already doing, but I was really just doing episodes and going. When I started the podcast, I didn't have a social media account for the podcast or a blog for the podcast because, again, it was just a hobby. So I didn't have any type of written representation for any of the episodes, and I wish I had, because if you have blog posts and transcripts available for the episodes as they go up, then it's a little bit easier for people to find you. It offers a little bit more accessibility. People who maybe aren't into listening to podcasts can still get the information by reading a blog post if they're not in a moment where they can really sit down and dedicate their time to a podcast, and they can just scroll through and see the big takeaways and then maybe go back to the episode. And then SEO purposes, like I said, they can find you a little bit better. I wish I'd done that a little bit earlier. It would have taken a lot of responsibility off of my plate, because I wouldn't have to go back like I am now and basically write and do episodes that I did over a year ago. So the last thing is probably the biggest thing I wish I had done before starting a podcast, and it is sitting down and really thinking about my intention and where I wanted it to go and outlining that direction. I wish I had sat down and asked myself, ideally, what would happen with this podcast? And then I could have figured out that maybe I wanted it to be more of a hobby, which I think I knew. I think I knew I wanted it to be more than a hobby when I started, but I was kind of afraid of setting that intention out into the world, because I've tried doing blogs and YouTube and all that stuff in the past, and nothing really took off because I was never being consistent with anything. It wouldn't have taken off. But I wish I had kind of let myself be big in that way and taken that step and that leap, and then just acted accordingly. Everything else on this list would have been taken care of had I understood the direction that I want the podcast to go in. So I would say, if you're thinking about starting a show, think about why you want to. If you purely want it to be a hobby, that's amazing. But just make sure that's really what you want. And if you want it to be a little bit more than that, think about the things that you can be doing now. I wish I had been showing up more consistently online. I wish I had been pitching. I wish I had been figuring out revenue options from the start. And I didn't take too long to figure that stuff out, but if I had been just really clear and been honest with myself about what I wanted from it, then I would have gotten through that stuff a lot quicker. So thank you all so much for watching this video. This is 4 things I wish I had done before starting a podcast. If you are interested in starting a podcast, then check out my blog down below in the description box. I have a ton of podcasting information. I also offer strategy sessions where I can sit down with you and walk through some growth and development and monetizing strategies. And I can't wait to hear from all of you. Please subscribe to the channel and give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. I will talk to you all again tomorrow for day 6 of Vlogmas.